Yesterday marked a grim milestone here in Kern County. 4 months since the start of the Borel Fire that tore through the town of Havilah. People are slowly returning to rebuild their lives, including one resident who says cleanup efforts have turned tragic. 17's Rob Hagan brings us her story.
Kern's largest wildfire in history has left its mark as it raked through the mountains, destroying the historic town of Havilah. Torched cars and caution tape litter the landscape that looks like a war zone 4 months after the Borel Fire consumed 60,000 acres, destroying more than 230 structures. The rubber from this truck's tire melted away, leaving only steel cables. Only the foundations of most of the homes are left. But the historic school is still standing, so is the outhouse, and so is the house of Alyssa Beckham. She said a concrete wall saved her home, but her kids still can't play outside because it's too toxic.
We had to rebuild our well. We had to put in a new power pole. So it took until October 15th before we were actually able to be in our house.
Beckham lost her barn. Her windows were melted away after her neighbor's house burned to the ground. She says the floor had to be replaced because of the stench of rotting meat.
Mostly it was the smell from the refrigerator, because when you have a refrigerator that leaks meat for weeks on end, it just ruined it.
Beckham says her home brought her to the land of gold, but she stayed because of the solidarity.
When I was pregnant, if I needed to get to the hospital and my husband wasn't home, I could rely on my neighbors. It was always one heart, one Havilah. It's always been a close neighborhood.
But now the cleanup efforts have turned into tragedy after her neighbor offered to chop up her tree.
It was a tree that had burned during the Borel Fire, so it had, damage to it already. And he was chopping up the oak wood, and when he chopped the branch had come down and ended up taking his life.
The branch crushed the man's head, killing him instantly, but it gets even worse.
After he passed away, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon that day, and by 10 o'clock that night, somebody came to his property and stole his RV that he had just got to live in since his house burned down in the Borel Fire.
Some have returned home, others are still waiting, and now one man's life is gone.
It's tragic that he had to lose his life trying to make himself a better life.
That was Rob Hagan reporting. The victim's identity has not been publicly released. If you have any information on the stolen RV in Havilah, call KCSO at the number on your screen.